Have you ever wondered, why was I born into this family? Why me? Why here? Why now? Have you ever looked at your parents and felt a silent scream rising within you? Why did it have to be them? Have you ever felt trapped by the family you didn't choose? By the patterns you can't escape? By wounds you carry that aren't even yours? Maybe you've asked yourself in secret, did I do something wrong in a past life to deserve this? Or is my family some cruel joke played by fate? But what if I told you it was no accident? What if I revealed that your birth into your family, with all its pain, chaos, or even deep hidden traumas, was carefully chosen by your soul? In Buddhist wisdom, there's a sacred truth that might shock you. Your family is no random punishment. Your parents, your siblings, your entire upbringing, they're mirrors reflecting ancient karma, teachers sent by your soul to awaken you. You didn't land here by chance. You came intentionally with a spiritual contract, a mission only this family could ignite. Are you ready to uncover the underlying cause of your pain, struggles, and heartbreak? Stay with me, because when you finally see why, your entire life, your whole understanding of yourself and your family will be transformed forever. 1. Understanding karma. Your family is your karmic mirror. Your parents were not chosen by chance. Your karma chose them. What if the father who abandoned you was once the soul you abandoned long ago? What if the mother who criticized you endlessly was once your reflection, cast aside in another lifetime? What if your family is not a burden placed upon you, but a mirror held up to you, showing you who you are and what still needs to be healed? In Buddhism, karma is not punishment. It's not some divine revenge served cold by the universe. Karma is memory. Karma is energy. Karma is the echo of everything your soul has done, felt, or ignored, reverberating back to you in forms you can finally see and feel. The Buddha once said, "I am the owner of my actions, heir to my actions, born of my actions, related through my actions, and supported by my actions." There is no escape from it, only understanding, only awakening. What if every fight, every silent wound from your childhood was the answer to a karmic prayer your soul made before it entered this life? Imagine this. A young monk once approached his Zen master, heart heavy with bitterness. "My father hates me," he said. "He hurt me all my life. Why was I born into his hands?" The master looked up from his sweeping and whispered, "Perhaps in another life, those hands were yours." Silence filled the temple. The young monk broke down, and slowly, understanding replaced blame. In that one sentence, he saw his pain differently, not as cruelty, but as the rebalancing of an ancient scale. You see, karma is not about blame. Karma is about balance. Your family isn't here to make you happy. They're here to make you whole. We often say, "Why can't my parents understand me?" But have you ever asked, what parts of myself did I ignore in a past life that now demand to be seen through their eyes? The impatient father teaches patience. The controlling mother teaches surrender. The sibling rivalry is a reminder of unfinished contracts between souls that once broke each other and now return to complete the cycle with love or repeat it with pain. Buddhism teaches that karma is like seeds we've sown in past lives. Some seeds were beautiful, acts of kindness, compassion, courage. Others were sown in fear, pride, or anger. All seeds bloom in their season, and for most of us, the ripest ground for those seeds to sprout is our family. What if the wounds you blame your parents for are the wounds your soul asked to relive so you could finally release them? The Buddha compared the mind to a field. He said, "With our thoughts we make the world, and through the family we harvest our deepest samskaras. Imprints of karma that live not just in thought, but in blood, in bone, in memory. Have you noticed how certain emotional patterns echo through generations? A grandmother who never spoke of her grief, a mother who loved but never knew how to show it, a son who ran away from his father, just like the father once ran from his own. These are not coincidences. These are karmic loops repeating until someone becomes conscious enough to break them. That someone is you. Your suffering didn't start with you, but it can end with you. In a story from the Zen tradition, a woman once asked a monk, "My family is cursed. We've had generations of conflict, abuse, and sorrow. How do I break this karma?" The monk replied, "First, stop calling it a curse. Begin calling it your garden. Then ask yourself, will you keep planting the same pain, or will you be the first to plant peace?" That is the power of karma understood, not as fate, but as invitation. Yes, your family may be the source of your deepest wounds, but in Buddhism, those wounds are holy. Why? Because they lead you home. Because they are the very places your light is meant to shine. What you resent in your family might be the one thing you came here to resolve. So tonight, take a moment. Look at your family, not with your history, not with your pain, but with your soul. Ask gently, what part of me do you mirror? What lesson do you carry back to me across lifetimes? And in that question, healing begins. Because the moment you stop running from your karma is the moment it starts to dissolve. 2. Recognizing your soul's choice, the sacred contract. Your soul chose this family, not for comfort, but for awakening. It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? That the pain you've endured wasn't an accident, but a choice, a sacred one. And yet, this is one of the deepest truths in Buddhist and spiritual understanding. Before you were born, before you had a name or a body, your soul stood at the edge of this life and said, yes. Yes to these parents. Yes to these challenges. Yes to this path. Not because it would be easy, but because it would awaken something eternal inside you. The people who hurt you most may be the souls who love you most, at the highest level of truth. In one Zen tale, a monk asked his master, "Why do I keep being reborn into suffering?" The master replied, "Because that's where you still believe love must be earned." Let that sink in. Sometimes your soul chooses the very family that will deny you what you crave most. So you'll learn to stop chasing it outside yourself. So you'll remember your true source. Maybe you were born to a father who never hugged you. Maybe your mother's love felt conditional. Maybe no one in your family ever really saw you. But what if all of it, the absence, the silence, the ache, was your soul's way of forcing you inward? Until you found the light that was never dependent on anyone else. Your suffering is not proof that the universe failed you. It's proof your soul is brave enough to evolve. There's a woman named Lena who once sat quietly during a Dharma talk. Her eyes full of years she hadn't spoken aloud. Her childhood was like a battlefield, raised by alcoholic parents, blamed for everything, praised for nothing. She used to ask every day, why was I born to them? What did I do to deserve this? But after years of spiritual practice, one day she whispered something that silenced the entire temple. I now believe I chose them, because no one else could have broken my illusions like they did. They didn't give me love, but they led me straight to the place I had buried it. Her pain had become her path. You didn't come here to escape your karma, you came to complete it. In Buddhist wisdom, we don't speak of punishment, we speak of completion. The soul returns to the classroom it left unfinished, and family is the first classroom of life. It's where we learn how to give love, how to receive love, or how to survive without it. It's where we repeat old stories or finally end them. You may feel like your family failed you, but what if they did exactly what your soul needed them to do? Not perfectly, not kindly, but karmically. The child who grows up ignored may become the adult who learns to listen deeply. The one who was betrayed may be the one who finally learns boundaries. The unloved one may be the one who loves themselves so fiercely that they become a light for others. Every time you've asked, "Why me?" your soul has whispered back, "Because you're ready." There's a teaching from Thich Nhat Hanh that pierces through every justification and story we carry. Every person you meet, including your family, is your spiritual teacher. That means even the father who walked out, even the sister who resented you, even the mother who never said, "I'm proud of you." All of them are teachers, not always kind, but always karmically precise. If you are brave enough, ask not, "Why did this happen to me?" but "What was I meant to awaken through this?" The soul doesn't ask for comfort, it asks for consciousness. You are not here to be defined by your past. You are here to liberate it. You're not the victim of your family. You are the soul who dared to be born into it and transform what others only endured. Yes, your childhood may have broken you, but what if that breaking was the beginning of your becoming? What if your soul knew exactly what it was doing? Instead of cursing your path, bless it. It's been sculpting your awakening all along. So tonight, light a candle not for who your family should have been, but for who they unknowingly helped you become. A witness, a healer, a warrior of compassion. Your sacred contract is not a sentence. It's a seed. It's not written in stone. It's waiting for you to rise, to forgive, to choose a new way forward. Because karma doesn't bind you. Karma only brings you back to the place where freedom begins. And it begins always with a single question. What sacred lesson is life asking me to finally learn here? Ask it, and you will never see your family the same way again. 3. Transforming family pain into wisdom. Your greatest teachers. What if your most difficult family members are your greatest teachers in disguise? Some of the people who've hurt you most may have loved you most. On the soul level, this isn't easy to hear. It's easier to call them toxic. It's easier to say, "They ruined my childhood," or "They never loved me." And maybe they didn't, at least not in the way you desperately needed. But what if the hurt wasn't the end of the story? What if it was the beginning of a deeper transformation? Your transformation. In Buddhist tradition, our enemies are considered sacred. Why? Because only those who wound us awaken the deepest qualities we never knew we had. Compassion, resilience, awareness, and forgiveness. Sometimes the person who broke your heart came into your life just to show you where it was still closed. There's a Zen story of a monk whose brother stole his inheritance. Angry and betrayed, he ran to his teacher and cried, "How can I ever forgive him?" The master poured tea into his cup until it overflowed. "You are this cup," he said, "so full of bitterness, there is no space for peace." The monk asked, "How do I empty it?" "By seeing the thief as your teacher," the master replied. "He came not to steal your wealth, but your attachment to it." This is the painful, liberating truth of karma. Your suffering can be your teacher, but only if you allow it to be. Your family did not come to break you. They came to awaken you. Every harsh word, every moment of abandonment, every silent dinner where no one asked how you were, wasn't meant to define you. It was meant to show you the parts of yourself still aching to be healed. Yes, your mother may have judged you, but what if that judgment led you to find inner approval? Yes, your father may have never been there, but what if his absence taught you how to be truly present for yourself and others? As the Buddha taught, hatred never ceases by hatred, but by love alone is healed. We are not here to repeat the pain, we are here to end it. You cannot change your family's past, but you can change your karmic future. To do that, you must stop running from the pain. You must turn toward it, not as a victim, but as a witness. Try this. Close your eyes. Imagine the person in your family who hurt you most. Now, instead of seeing their face, imagine their soul. Imagine the pain they never healed. Imagine the wounds they carried into this life, the stories they never got to rewrite. And then say silently, I see your suffering. I forgive what I can. I release what I must. This is not about excusing abuse. This is about setting yourself free. Forgiveness is not for them. It's for the part of you that still holds the knife. When you don't forgive, you become the jailer and the prisoner. You carry them with you, in your mind, your heart, your nervous system, and until you're ready to release, the cycle repeats. The Buddha was once asked, "What is the secret to peace?" He replied, "Let go of anger. Let go of pride. Let go of ego. These are the chains that bind you." Forgiveness is not passive. It is a fierce, holy act of liberation. Gratitude is the medicine that transforms pain into power. Once you have softened your heart, once you have seen their suffering mirrored in your own, one more step remains: gratitude. Gratitude not for the harm, but for the strength that rose from it, for the light that broke through it, for the love that awakened because of it. Try this simple practice inspired by Buddhist loving-kindness meditation. 1. Sit quietly. 2. Bring to mind a family member who triggered deep pain. 3. Silently say, "May you be free from suffering. May you awaken in this life or the next. Thank you for the lesson. I release you now." This is how karma dissolves. This is how ancestral chains break. This is how you stop becoming who they were and start becoming who you truly are. The soul you resent the most may be the soul who loved you enough to help you evolve. Let that echo through your heart. In the cosmic realm, the most courageous souls often choose the most painful roles. The one who betrayed you, the one who ignored you, the one who blamed you for everything. Might have said, "I will take on the burden of being the one who hurts you if it awakens your path to compassion." Radical, yes, but freeing? Absolutely. So today ask not, "How could they have done this to me?" but rather, "How can I grow from what they could not?" That is the true alchemy. That is the sacred fire. That is the heart of Buddhist transformation. Let pain become a teacher. Let anger become insight. Let memory become freedom. And above all, let love do what it was always meant to do: heal. 4. The path forward. Living your karma with compassion. You cannot change your family, but you can change how you respond to them. Let this truth land softly on your heart. You cannot undo your past. You cannot rewrite your childhood. You cannot erase the wounds that were carved into your soul by the very people who were supposed to protect you. But you can stop letting those wounds define you. You are not here to endlessly relive the same karmic story. You are here to write a new chapter. Buddhism teaches us, the present moment is the only place where transformation happens. Karma is not your prison, it's your teacher. And the greatest act of liberation is not escape, but conscious engagement. Compassion, not control. Stillness, not struggle. The moment you stop blaming is the moment healing begins. There is a story from a Thai monastery where a young monk struggled with deep resentment toward his father, a violent man who had caused the family years of suffering. Every day during meditation, the image of his father would arise, and every time, the monk would feel rage flood his chest. One day his teacher, Ajahn Somchai, asked him a question that changed everything. When you think of your father, do you see him as a man or as your wound? The monk was stunned because he had never seen his father as anything but the source of his pain. The teacher continued, "You must see beyond the story, beyond your judgment, see the karma, see the lesson. Only then can you release it. Your family is not your life sentence. It's your spiritual classroom. Begin by practicing gratitude, not because your family was perfect, but because they stirred your soul awake. Write this down each morning if you must. Thank you for teaching me what I needed to learn, even if the lesson hurt." This simple act reshapes your nervous system. It creates new emotional grooves in your heart. It doesn't mean excusing cruelty. It means you're reclaiming your energy from the past. Next time a conflict arises, when your sibling provokes you, when your parent triggers old fear, pause. Ask yourself, what is this moment teaching me about myself? Am I reacting from the wound or responding from wisdom? This one question is the gateway to karmic freedom. You don't break karma by fighting it. You break it by meeting it with clarity and love. Every time you resist the urge to retaliate, every time you choose silence over sarcasm, every time you breathe instead of blame, you are dissolving centuries of ancestral pain. You are not just healing yourself, you are healing generations. You are the one your bloodline has been waiting for. The Buddha never said the path would be easy. He said it would be freeing. There's a quote from Ajahn Chah that haunts and comforts the heart. If you haven't wept deeply, you haven't begun to meditate. Because true healing isn't neat or pretty. It's raw. It's shaking. It's sitting in silence as old emotions rise like tidal waves and letting them wash over you without drowning in them. This is the work. This is the way. And now, dear soul, I invite you, if something in this message touched you, if a part of your own family story came to light, take a moment to share it in the comments below. Not just for you, but for someone else who needs to know they're not alone. And if this journey spoke to your heart, please like, subscribe, and share this message. Help it reach another soul who's ready to step out of the shadows of blame and into the light of conscious healing. You are not your past. You are the present awareness choosing a different future. With each breath, walk gently. With each word, speak kindly. With each step, bless the path beneath you. And remember, the moment you choose compassion, your karma begins to change.